विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिने नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी Hare
Welcome everybody to our Sunday Peace program. My name is Krshna Dulal Prabhu. Thank you all for coming earlier today. It's coming on time. It was earlier on time. So this is the residence of our beloved Shishi Gornitai Ki, Jaya, here at ISKCON Ottawa. And do you have anybody here for the first time? Anybody coming for the first time? I see some familiar faces from a few times back also, so welcome to all of you. And I'd like to also welcome the devotees online. We have Krshna Dulal Prabhu is here. Hare Krishna. Nice to see you online. Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Dina Gaura Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Jaya. Hare Krishna. Mother Lila Mohini. Hare Krishna. Matthew Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Pankuri Malik. Hare Krishna. Pankuri. Varma. Hare Krishna. And Mother Sonia. Hare Krishna. Welcome to all of you. So, we just finished having Kirtan and doing Aarti, welcoming Shishi Gornitai, the deities. And this is what we do again as Vaishnavas in this culture. We welcome each other with chanting Hare Krishna and saying the Lord's name. And so now next we're going to have a short discussion. We'll read something on the subject of Krishna consciousness. And following that, we'll have a little bit of Kirtan and Prasadam. So not much has changed. It's what we've been doing before, but we're just starting a little bit earlier today. And perhaps when we speak and we have some discussion, if you have some thoughts, anything in your mind, something that you're thinking about that's been spoken about in the verse, or maybe a question you might have, feel free to share it with us afterwards. Okay? Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi
Jaya
Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, chapter 33, text 27. Sri Prabhupada ki Jaya. Nityarudha samadhitvat paravrita guna brahma samsara tatatmanam svapne dristam ivotitha. The word for word. Nitya, eternal. Arudha, situated in. Samadhitvat, from trance. Paravrita, freed from. Guna, of the modes of material nature. Brahma, illusion. Nasamsara, she did not remember. Tada, then. Atmanam, her material body. Svapne, in a dream. Dristam, seen. Eva, just as. Uthita, one who has arisen. Translation. Situated in eternal trance and freed from illusion, the modes of material nature, the remembrance of his body is not bound to material existence. As long as we are conscious of our bodily existence, it is to be understood that we are living conditionally, under the three modes of material nature. When one forgets his bodily existence, his conditional material life is over. This forgetfulness is actually possible when we engage our senses in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. In the conditional state, one engages his senses as a member of a family or as a member of a society or country. But when one forgets all such membership in material circumstances and realizes that he is an eternal servant of the Supreme Lord, that is actual forgetfulness of material existence. This forgetfulness actually occurs when one renders service unto the Lord. A devotee no longer works with the body for sense gratification with family, society, country, humanity, and so on. He simply works for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. That is perfect Krishna consciousness. A devotee always merges in transcendental happiness, and therefore he has no experience of material distress. This transcendental happiness is called eternal bliss. According to the opinion of the devotees, constant remembrance of the Supreme Lord is called samadhi, or trance. If one is constantly in trance, there is no possibility of his being attacked or even touched by the modes of material nature. As soon as one is freed from the contamination of the three material modes, he no longer has to take birth to transmigrate from one form to another in this material world. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripatadaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimati Niranjana Swami Tinamine Anahata Prayasana Prabhupadasya Tushtaye Sankirtan Pravritti Arta Ihate Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasatyadi Satarine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya. So some of us were present on Saturday. We discussed this verse. It was talking in Srimad Bhagavatam. And for those of you who are attending the Zoom classes with Mother Lakshmi Moni in the mornings, when we have Bhagavatam class, we're in and around that area. So this is the instructions of Kapila Dev to his mother, Mother Devahuti. Right? He was leaving home, and her husband Kardamuni already left home. He went to the forest because he was a sage, and he went to fulfill his duty. And now it was the job of the son to move on also and follow, I guess, in the family's footsteps. But before he did that, his responsibility was to deliver his mother also, to take care of his mother. And so he truly took care of his mother because she gave her transcendental realization. Right? Krishna consciousness made it so that she, could be delivered completely, go back home, back to Godhead. So it led up to the point where this verse is describing Mother Devahuti. It's saying that she is situated in eternal trance right now. After hearing from Kapila Dev, she was freed from all illusion, impelled by the modes of material nature. You know how we get impelled by the modes of material nature, right? We feel like we have to do something, or we get in a project, we're in the mode of passion or mode of ignorance, have to get something done really late, or a mode of goodness sometimes, and we're just impelled. We're the modes of nature are there everywhere. They're like puppeteers, pulling our strings, and sometimes we just become suggested. We become, It reminds me of this story of Pinocchio. He was a puppet, and finally, his strings were let free, and then he could go and he could move around, and he became a boy, and there's that story. So she's freed from the modes of material nature because she's situated in the process of devotional service. And this process of devotional service is being described right here. It's said that she's in constant remembrance. And there's 9 processes of devotional service. Let's see if we could get them. We had a little trouble getting them on Saturday, but we have more people here today, so we might do better. Right? So there's 9 processes of devotional service in our Bhakti Yoga movement. We can have a hand. You could. The first person always has the easiest task. Go ahead. Shravana, Kirtanam. Okay, Shravanam, Kirtanam. Smaranam, remembering. Vishnu Smaranam, yes. Padasevanam, yeah. Okay, that's the last one. Atmani Devanam, yeah, that's 5. We got 4 more. Archanam, okay, offering worship. Sakyam, friendship. Okay, we've got 7. 2 more. Vandanam, yes. Dasyam, yes, we did it. Good job. Very good. Yeah, we got Atmani Vedanam, we had it. So she was engaged in any of those processes will do, right? So if we get fully engaged in remembrance, that'll do it. If we do all of them, even better, right? We've got a whole bunch of them. So, in the previous verse before that, it said because she had the great fortune of having the Lord as her son. Actually, what a great fortune. And there are other devotees in their scriptures also that had that great fortune. And Prabhupada was saying in a purport, as a parent, you can get to be the parent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead too. You look at Mother Yashoda, she got to be the adoptive parent of Lord Krishna. Right? So the one and only. So today also didn't want to forget, but I wanted to wish all of the fathers a very happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to you. Thank you. I don't know where we would be without you, so thank you so much. And thank you to the Supreme Father as well. He's there, Lord Krishna. Supreme Father and Mother. And so, yeah, I mean, that's a beautiful experience that everyone can have, having a parent, having a mother, having a father, right? Those are generally very close relationships that we have. And even Srila Prabhupada, he mentioned when somebody once asked him, what kind of a spirit should we have? How should we be meditating when we're chanting Hare Krishna? And Prabhupada said, like a mother, like a child crying for his mother, like a baby child that's crying for the mother. You see, a baby child is always like, when he's crying, and he says, Mama, I need you, right? Mother drops everything and she comes right away. It's like a real intent meditation. And so the bond between a mother, right, and son, or mother and daughter, right, or father and son, father and daughter, right, those are special bonds that are there. I read this verse, but there's another topic that I wanted to focus on a little bit, and that topic was the topic of festivals. And we were trying to figure out how the two were connected. And Krishna Seva Prabhu figured out, he says, oh yes, I think they're connected. Because the question came, how do we become like Mother Devahuti, right? How do we become where we're completely, constantly remembering Krishna all the time, and we're not affected by any of the modes of material nature? And the trick is in the festivals, right? We figured that out on Saturdays. We figured it out that it's the festivals that do it. And I was actually going on Google, and I was trying to find some nice quotes about festivals, or like festivals in Krishna consciousness, or like the importance of festivals. And like ISKCON Ottawa came up like the fifth search, right, on Google. And I was thinking, what, ISKCON Ottawa? What's, like, do we have some kind of a festival motto? And it was the About Us page that was on our website. And this website must have been made like, I don't know if anybody's 2011, 1976. It was a long time ago. And it was really nice. This would have been probably compiled by Mother Shri Radha, Shankar Prabhu. And the About Us page came up. So I'm going to read it to you. And I think the word festival on that page came up like probably 8 or 9 times. So let's just put it into context here. Of course, now I'm not going to find it if I'm going to look for it. So let's just website. Okay, here we go. So I found out that we have a mission statement and vision statement in ISKCON Ottawa. And I'll read it. Would you like to know what it is? Okay. So our mission statement for our community is to advance the well-being of society by promoting the science of Krishna consciousness, by fulfilling the 7 purposes of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON. So there's 7 purposes for ISKCON, and we used to have a little poster. It was framed, and all 7 purposes were there. So I'm going to read them for you, just so you can kind of just a refresher. So first purpose, established by our founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada. 1, to systematically propagate spiritual knowledge to society at large and to educate all peoples in the techniques of spiritual life in order to check the imbalance of values in life and to achieve real unity and peace in the world. 2, to propagate a consciousness of Krishna as it is revealed in the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam. 3, to bring the members of the society together with each other and nearer to Krishna, the prime entity, thus to develop the idea within members and humanity at large that each soul is part and parcel of the quality of Godhead, Krishna. 4, to teach and encourage the Sankirtan movement, congregational chanting of the holy names of God as revealed in the teachings of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. 5, to erect for the members and for society at large a holy place of transcendental pastimes dedicated to the personality of Krishna. 6, to bring the members closer together for the purpose of teaching a simpler and more natural way of life. And 7, with a view towards achieving the aforementioned purposes to publish and distribute periodicals, magazines, books, and other writings. So now, under each purpose, there was, it's like a chart. And next to each purpose, there was a description that basically explained what are our present activities that are in connection with this purpose. Like, you know, how are we working towards fulfilling these purposes? And then next to that column was another column that was talking about future, planned activities. What would we like to do to do a little bit more on that front? So, let's see here. So, for the first purpose, here's where festivals came in. So, study groups, this is what we're doing. Sunday feast, community outreach, both with books and with chanting. Guest speakers from out of town. Festivals, drama presentations, electronic mailouts to the temple's mailing list, book tables, helping support traveling preachers. So we're kind of still doing this, right? It's still happening. We're having our programs, our outreach, we're having some festivals. Planned activities, what do we plan to do? Continue the present activities, but more frequently and involving more participants. And the next purpose, it said, is what we're doing, we have been doing. Bhakti Yoga study groups open to the public every Wednesday at the University of Ottawa. And we were actually doing this just up until school finished, the university finished. Bhakti Yoga study sessions held weekly on Fridays for followers to study the scriptures more in depth. So currently it's Kirtan, that's happening on Fridays. Weekly Sunday feast with classes open to the public since 1971. So still happening. Daily worship programs. And festivals such as Gaura Purnima, Nrsimha Chaturdasi, Ratha Yatra, Janmashtami, Radhashtami, Diwali, Govardhan Puja, and Gita Jayanti. And here's the planned activities, what we would like to do. Continue the present study groups, feasts and classes and worship, larger festivals, programs open to the public. 3. Oh, thank you. Thank you. So 3 was to encourage home programs and participation in festival preparations, cooking together, sharing prasadam, attending festivals in other centers, inviting devotees from other centers to our festivals. Planned activities. Encourage members to participate in courses, seminars that foster personal, interpersonal, and spiritual growth. 4, the festival came up here in number 4, to performing Sankirtan, congregational chanting at every gathering, conducting festivals centered on the chanting of the holy name of God. Provide discourses elaborating upon the purpose of chanting the holy names. Teach and encourage the public at large to chant the holy names through various festivals, including our annual participation in the Canada Day Festival, which is coming up in just about a week or so. And hold outdoor Harinam Sankirtan parties once a week. And here's the planned activities. Continue to perform Sankirtan and teach the techniques to others. And then at number 5, it came up under the 5th purpose. Property and building in central Ottawa, 1 block away from the University of Ottawa. Facilitates members and the public to visit daily and for specific festivals. Planned activities. Continue to maintain the present facilities and make improvements as required. And so it came out quite a few times. And I'm going to read to you the vision statement. There's a vision statement too. So we're talking with a few devotees about mission statements recently and vision statements. And the idea behind mission statements, it's like, what's our purpose? What are we doing, right? What are we trying to, what's our daily grind, right? The process. This is our abhideya, right? The process of devotional service. And what's prayojana? What's the goal? What's the success? What's it going to look like when this is fulfilled, when we're doing it, when we try to imagine our utopian fulfillment of the purpose of our activities here. So it says, ISKCON Ottawa's vision is a community of devotees enthusiastically and systematically propagating spiritual knowledge to society at large and educating all people in the techniques of spiritual life in order to check the imbalance of values in life and to achieve real unity and peace in the world. So that's our vision statement. I'm going to read it again. You can really meditate on that. A community of devotees enthusiastically and systematically propagating spiritual knowledge to a society at large and educating all peoples in the techniques of spiritual life in order to check the imbalance of values in life and to achieve real unity and peace in the world. So we can overcome the pull of the different modes of nature and get to a balance and understand the real values of life, he is saying, which is unity and peace, which can only be attained if we serve Lord Krishna. So I have a little text here that my father gave me the book, the quote. I remembered that my Guru Maharaj at some point, he was speaking about the importance of festivals and how this is something that all the devotees should be doing. And he quoted Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj from Amrita Vani, which is this book. And I believe it was page 527. So Maharaj was appreciating Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj a lot, and how he realized that he's such a prolific preacher. He really wanted to grow the expansion, of Lord Chaitanya's movement. When he was reading these essays that was written in this writing, and he appreciated that, and he was also appreciating how Srila Prabhupada even more, because he saw that Srila Prabhupada was following, directly in the footsteps of his spiritual master when he was coming and establishing Krishna consciousness to the West and to the entire world. So here's the quote from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Is it necessary to live with devotees to get their association? Certainly association with devotee is essential. However, we attain association according to our own qualification. It is not a fact that simply by living together we can take advantage of good association. And it is true that we can associate with devotees even when we live at a distance from them. Association does not necessarily mean living in the same room. However, living with devotees makes it easier to hear from them, whereas such hearing is more difficult over a distance. We conduct festivals in the temple to give everyone the opportunity to associate with devotees, to destroy their attachment for material life, to display compassion for all living entities, to develop a taste for chanting the holy name, and to engage in the service of Hari, Guru, and the Vaishnavas. The Mat's main purpose in holding festivals, reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, and discussing Hari Katha is to awaken the soul's constitutional propensity to serve Krishna. If we hear Hari Katha and the association of devotees, we revive awareness of our constitutional position and attain the ultimate goal of life. So this is from Amrita Vani. So, and we shared a little bit some of the experiences that some devotees had, going to festivals, going to maybe a holy name festival, chanting, and how it was so immersive. Or some devotees maybe going to Montreal and experiencing, a weekend of festivals, whether it was on the farm or at the temple, and how, having that experience, these devotees were thinking, I don't want to go back to work, I don't want to go back to my regular life, because this is a place where I could just forget, myself, and just, it's so nice, devotees are speaking and doing all of those things. And sometimes, you can just forget about your body. If you have some pains or some some stresses on the mental platform. It's when you engage and have this experience. That's why they do these 24-hour kirtan sometimes. You go, it takes a while to get into it, but then after like 10 hours of kirtan, you're like on cloud 9. You're really absorbed. A lot of devotees speak about that when it comes to japa too. They chant, 16 rounds, and they'll say, wow, the last 2 rounds, 3 rounds are like really special, right? Because you get into, if you do it with a focus, that's there. So it's the process of immersion, essentially. That's why the more festivals we do, the easier it is to remain enthusiastic, because we can see that a lot of enthusiasm comes from that. These festivals are revolving and based around service. We're serving the Vaishnavas, we're serving Sri Sri Gaura Nitai, and by doing that, it's just the byproduct is that you start to feel the reciprocation. You get reciprocation from the holy name, from the service itself, and it becomes liberating. So right now we have some opportunities to engage in festival season. Our soonest festival, our upcoming festival, is going to be July 1st, and so Canada Day. And this is a festival that's been happening here in Ottawa since 1980, probably 85, 6, something like that. When we came to Canada in 1990, it was happening already. So it was happening for quite a few years, and so we were participating in it. But I remember my father told me that we didn't have any official stages or anything like this. We would just find a place somewhere downtown and sit on a couple of milk crates and designate our spot, and devotees would be there, and that's how it started. And then we had a bigger spot, and then we moved somewhere else, and then the spot was taken away, or we were kicked out because they were closing the streets, or this year because there might be a protest that's happening. But still the desire of the devotees was there to, hey, we want to do the festival no matter what. We want to take this opportunity, and we want to relish this nice experience. We want to give Krishna to others. So this is one festival that's coming up, and even though it's 2 weeks away or a week and a half away, it doesn't mean that's when the festival is going to happen. That's only when the bliss is going to begin. The beauty about doing festivals, there's a lot of planning and logistics that goes into that. So devotees can start to think at home, okay, let's make sure that we have some nice tents that are set up, right? Let's prepare, let's get together with the devotees. Maybe we can make some nice prasadam. Maybe some guests are going to come from Toronto and Montreal. I can clean my room and maybe have a bed for somebody to come and stay, right, if they're coming and visiting. So this starts to become the meditation of the devotees. And then when the devotees come, the sangha happens, and it's very nice. And we have another festival that's going to be happening the week after that. It's going to be Montreal Ratha Yatra. So it's the festival of Chair Lord Jagannath is going to be coming. Oh, we have a nice poster here. Yeah, this is for Canada Day, our Canada Day poster. And then we have another poster. I'm going to get to that poster though. So Ratha Yatra is going to be happening in Montreal the week after that. And so devotees can go and we can experience some brotherhood or sisterhood with the devotees in Montreal and join them together in the festival. And then the week after that, there's a festival happening in Toronto, Ratha Yatra, which is actually, from what I hear, is the largest Ratha Yatra festival in North America. Even possibly bigger than New York, although I think New York was pretty big this year. It's quite, some devotees went to New York Ratha Yatra. And then after that brings us to July. We're going to have Janmashtami that's going to be coming up soon. It's a big festival, Krishna's birthday. Prabhupada's Vyas Puja, right, his birthday. It comes the day right after that. I believe it's the 19th is Janmashtami and the 20th is Prabhupada's Vyas Puja. And then the week after that, we're going to have our own Ratha Yatra. We're going to get to have and we have a nice poster here. Krishna Seva Prabhu was working on a nice post. That's exciting. Yeah, we should give a round of applause to the opportunity to be able to have Ratha Yatra, right? That's exciting. And so this is, we've already been in touch with the city, and we were talking about routes. What kind of a route? Where can we go? When can we do our parade? And so far, we have approval to do a parade starting at Strathcona Park, so it's just by the river. And we're going to go, it's going to be very unique because we're going to be going up a hill. So we'll have to really make sure we do lots of push-ups the weeks before, right? Because it's going to be a heavy cart. We're going to have to pull it up a hill with Jagannath. And then we're going to turn left and going to go along Laurier, all the way Laurier to King Edward. And then we're going to turn on King Edward, go down King Edward. And then we're going to turn on Somerset Street and go down the hill with the chariot. Okay. So I asked Krishna Prabhu if he can just, he can hold the chariot from behind just in case so it doesn't run the devotees over. But logistically, there's going to be a lot of planning to do a festival like this. Devotees, there has to be wheel guards, somebody to make sure that nobody gets injured, somebody that's sweeping in the front of the chariot, planning in the park when the chariot arrives to the park. Have some tents that are set up with prasadam, question and answer booths, maybe have a stage set up, have some kirtan happening on stage, maybe arrange some nice Bharatnatyam dance, have a play, devotees can prepare a play for that, and so it's very exciting. So we've booked the community center already there, so we have facility, we have the park there to do that. So, and I think it's just really awesome because it's the first time I think we've ever had Lord Jagannath's chariot come in front of the temple. So we get to see Lord Chaitanya might be dancing, when Lord Jagannath comes back, right, comes by, just like in Chaitanya Charitamrita, right? So we get to participate in it. We participate in the pastime, Krishna's pastimes, just by putting on these festivals, participating in these festivals. And then we have another festival that's in the pipes. We're just waiting to get confirmation, but there were some devotees that expressed an interest, saying that I know we haven't had Vaishnava Sangha festival in like the last 2 years, and some devotees were thinking, well, maybe we'll wait a little bit, But one argument came up: what if we're not alive by next year? What if we're not going to be here and we're going to miss the opportunity to have that festival? And so we're just waiting on confirmation, but possibly the 3rd week of September, so it would be a fall festival. We would have a Vaishnava Sangha festival, and this would be more of a, amongst Vaishnavas together. Also newcomers are invited. It's less of an outreach event, but have some kirtan, have some discussion, engage in some service, do some cooking, be able to serve some senior Vaishnavas that come and participate. So, isn't that exciting? It's so exciting. Like, where would our lives be if it wasn't for that? Netflix, get together, have a beer with some friends, what's that, right? So we have such a rich opportunities. We are so blessed. We have such a great fortune that somehow Srila Prabhupada and his agents, they picked us up, right? They somehow decided to give us some mercy, a little bit of mercy, and so lots to, when you think on it, there's so much to be grateful for. And what does a Vaishnava do? He spends his entire lifetime trying to reciprocate. He's not unable to reciprocate, but this appreciation that's there. It's a very sweet exchange. So without going, I guess, too much, we're going to try to keep with the time frame a little bit. Maybe at this point we could, I'm sure devotees have a lot that they can share, but maybe their experiences in festivals or the importance of festivals, or maybe comment on something that was discussed or read. Maybe we can open up the floor for discussion. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, a quick question. Can you just reiterate what you said about the 7 purposes of devotion? The 7 purposes of devotion, the Hindi words, and what they mean?
So, you mean the 7 purposes of devotion, or the 9 processes of devotion?
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah. If you could just elaborate what each means.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so the first one is Shravanam, right? So it's the translation for Shravanam is hearing, right? So we do that by discussing right now. So one person is speaking, the other person is listening, or one way of hearing is through reading, right? Because it comes in, right, when we're doing that. So, and an example of this hearing or shravanam in our studies, in our scriptures, Srimad Bhagavatam, who really kind of imbibes this specific process is Maharaj Parikshit, right? Because he was cursed, he was bitten by the snake bird, and he was told that he's got 7 days to live. And so he decided the 7 days of his life, after everything's finished, he's going to go and listen. So he went to the forest of Naimisharanya and he was listening. The second process is chanting. So it's a Kirtanam, right? So we're chanting Hare Krishna, repeating the Lord's names, speaking about Krishna also. And an example of that is Sukadev Goswami, right? Because he was the one who was speaking to Parikshit Maharaj, right? So he was talking about Krishna. Third one is remembering, right? So it's Vishnu Smaranam. And my father just mentioned it. It's not just remembering, it's remembering about Vishnu, right? About Krishna, it's Krishna's pastime. A great example of this is Prahlad Maharaj. So we see on our altar we have Lord Nrsimhadev, which is half man, half lion. And Prahlad Maharaj, even though he was put in a very precarious situation, he suffered hardships at school. His father tried to torture him. He was constantly remembering about the Lord, and then the Lord appeared. Fourth one is serving the lotus feet. So an example is given of serving the lotus feet is Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. She's always engaged. She's always by the side of the Lord serving. Fifth is deity worship. So it's Archanam. Right, so this is what we're doing here at the temple. And sometimes families and especially it's recommended for householders, if you have some deities at home or you have some practice in the morning, in your morning ritual, right, you do that, and we, whether it's Shalagram Shilas, and we do practice this Archanam. The sixth one is praying, so it's Vandanam. And an example of Vandanam is Akrura. It says that Akrura offered prayers to Krishna when he was traveling to Vrindavan in order to see Krishna. So he's thinking about Krishna, praying to him. 7 is Dasyam, right? So Dasyam, service, executing orders. So we're given orders from our spiritual master. Our Guru is giving us some instructions. And a very famous example of this is Hanuman, right, and Lord Ram, right? So the intimate servant of Ramachandra, he executed all of Sri Ramachandra's orders despite all kinds of difficulties. The 8th one is serving as a friend, so Sakyam, friendship. So Arjuna, this is in the Bhagavad Gita, was a close friend to Krishna, and he offered himself to become, Krishna offered himself to become his chariot driver and serve Arjuna. So they had this friendship that was there. And then the 9th one is complete surrender, Atmani Vedana. Right, so an example here is Bali Maharaj. He gave Sri Vamanadev his entire kingdom, his possessions as well as his own body, although his own spiritual master was against it. And he told him, he took the steps, he says, take any 3 steps of land. And he says, you step on me, complete surrender. And Bhakti Marg Maharaj, when he talks about this, he does a little workshop called the 9 processes, and he calls this last one sweet surrender, right? It's not like surrender, I give up, right? I surrender, here's my gun. No, it's sweet surrender. It's like very special. So does that answer? Yeah. Okay. Right. Some other thoughts, questions, realizations? Maybe we can share. Can anybody share an experience that they had of going to a festival, like a nice festival, and it was like life-changing for them, or it left a really strong impression? If not, we should really get some more festivals going. You're missing out. Vrindavan Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
He was asking for the festival, so easy festival in New York. He was attending. Hare Krishna. So I want to give some insights of the New York festival because few of the devotees was attending in New York. Rath Yatra. The best part of the festivals is when all of the group of people come together with the one mission, one goal, and with the one spirit. You feel like you are not alone in this journey. That's the first thing, and it just gives you some more inspiration that you can do a lot better. And there's so many advanced devotees you see there with their dedication. So you feel like what is your level, and it inspires you to do better in your life. And you see that they are so happy doing all these things, and I should level up my game.
Yes.
So that's a small insight and my inspiration from the last trip.
Very nice. Thank you for sharing. Hare Krishna. Anybody else like to share? Yes.
I've been to a couple of Dasi satsang, and some people do cry during Aarti. They cry a lot, and what I feel is special about this is nobody disturbs them, because once in my country a priest said that if you're crying during satsang, it's your inner demons that are coming out because they are surrendering to the Lord. So I think that is very interesting, because sometimes, especially kids, they tend to have negative connotation when they see people crying. They get scared. But if just parents could teach them to the kids that no, it's the demons coming out, it's the Lord calling you, it makes a huge difference. Yeah.
So you weren't scared, you're saying? Yeah.
No, I was
okay,
not.
Very good.
I never
That's
was.
good. Okay, good. Krshna Prabhu.
One of the interesting aspects of festivals is gives opportunity to serve, as mentioned earlier. Particularly when you are having a family festival here, so it gives a lot of opportunity to serve the visiting devotees. And we mentioned already, but there's a lot of service to be done. Of course, your own family is a good example of setting up the facilities for the Kirtan, going there early in the morning, setting up the stage, etc. But all of us take part actually. We can take part in many different ways. Here at the temple, and helping prepare prasadam, as well as on the site, distributing. This time we're going to distribute some snacks also. So there's opportunity to distribute not only book, Harinam, as well as snacks. So let's all get together and come in the spirit of giving service.
Jaya. Thank you. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. Jaya. Krishna Dulal ki. Jaya. So let's have some Kirtan, shall we?
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Virinamine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Virinamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasatya Deshatarine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasa Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasa Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare